Bing, bing, bing. We're live. It's the Modern Fowler Scrum. We have Sam, we have Stella, we have Sigu. It's all the S's, 3 S's today. Stella was first in. Stella, how are things going with you today?
So far, so good. Been up and down. I've not touched on newsletter yet, but I was the mob from the planning. But I'll go back to the newsletter thing.
Great.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And nothing blocking you then at the moment?
No, at the moment, no.
Good show. All right, we'll go on to Sigu. How are you doing, Sigu? How are things with you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm okay. What have I been doing since morning? All right, just making some plans on the academy that we are supposed to start up. It's actually ongoing. There's just a few things I'm supposed to finish up on. Yeah, that's basically what I've been doing since morning. Then I'm here also so that we can catch up on the issue that I was working on.
Right.
Yeah, the calendar issue that I was to finish up on. So I just needed some clarification on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Excellent. So yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. So what's been happening with me? I have been working on a new draft of an improved README for the Website One project, and I've also just been working on a quick little bug fix for Susanna, which is about formatting in some of the event pages, and that turns out to have been a relatively easy fix. Yeah, I'm quite pleased to get that out. What else is good? And so I've been kind of other things. I've been just working through admin elements. There's still like various invoicing things to try and sort out, which I'm working on. Yeah, I think what is it? It's Tuesday. Yesterday evening, did manage to get through quite a lot of admin stuff. Also, investigating doing Twitter plugins for the NHS wiki. So things basically under control. There's a lot of cleanup I'd like to do with various projects. But yeah, I think that's our Scrum mob. We've got the Elixir mob coming up at the top of the hour, and it's Wednesday, so it's async voter meeting later today, where I think Brent's going to show us the new client that he's created for us. Yeah, so that's our Scrum. Yeah, so I guess the main I got one blocker is that although I think we've fixed the local support dates issue in other places, I'm still getting a failure on my local machine, but I'm going to kind of leave that until Thursday. There's something very strange happened there, but yeah, I think I'm going to leave that till Thursday in the local support meeting. Yeah, Sigu, yeah, should we, if we haven't got any other topics, should we talk about the calendar thing? Yeah, I mean, I no rush. I was just, I've been going through the Dependabot stuff and trying to, clear out all the pull requests, and just, yeah, wondered what your thoughts were on that PR. Yeah. So, and I think you were saying that you'd made good progress in it, and it kind of now displays the time zones correctly.
Yeah. When you tried it out, you told me that it's displaying the time zones correctly. What I simply did was, yeah, I would check the user's local time zone and add on top on whatever you're having from the backend. That's what I display on the calendar. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Good show. And so, I mean, is this potentially ready to push out, or it's more? I guess at the moment it displays the calendar on the main events page, doesn't it?
Yeah, I lost you a bit. Could you just repeat that?
Well, I was saying, I was wondering, is it ready to push out in its current form? At the moment, it sort of appears on the main events page, doesn't it?
Yes, it appears on the main events page, and right below it is the list now of the events.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if we are supposed to display by default the events of the day instead of showing the whole calendar for the whole month, because in a day we have different events. So that if the user wants to see what's in for that particular week or for the whole month, then they can switch the view. So if we could have the default view to be the days that particular day, I think that would be great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing maybe to do, or at least the approach that I would be tempted to try is, rather than necessarily putting it on the main events page that people are currently used to, is to push it out on, a different endpoint, like, events, and have a flag for like the calendar view, and so get it out there and see what it's looking like with production data, and sort of play with it just ourselves, before we kind of make it the main thing, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so you mean that we could try it maybe on the staging or something?
No, well, I mean more than that. I think we could have it on the main system, but for example, what we could do is just have it kind of behind a like a parameter that we pass to, the events control. So, for example, we could different way to do it. We could have like a little flag that would be like show calendar equals true.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like this, that only we would know about, and so we could kind of play with it, turning it on ourselves on production, and kind of like, because it's and then we don't push it onto other people until we're happy with it, and we also see that it plays nicely with all the other JavaScript in production, and this, that, and the other. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
And potentially that would be a fairly trivial change to, like, we just have that, this displaying this or not. I mean, I was sort of thinking we could have it at a different, what's the word? A different endpoint, like a different route. But that's probably more, what I think what we want to move forward is to get it out there and with the live data in it, and sort of, amongst ourselves, keep playing with it. That works. I like that. Move that, this, that, and so on. And then when we're happy with it, we can just turn it on, by default.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
Okay. Cool. So let's have a look.
So what you're saying about you're talking about Brent adding, and you're asking if we could add the calendar events.
Well, that's
this particular.
That's a separate thing, which we can maybe talk about in a minute. Before we go there, I was just going to ask. I noticed that this kind of existing function that we have here in the application.js, which is to do with turbolinks, has changed a little bit. But has anything changed here, or is it just kind of like reindented?
Yeah, it's just reindented. The editor that I have automatically formats the code. So the lines that have changed are not much.
Yeah, right.
The actual lines change is not much.
Yeah, I think it looks better. Oh, that's fine. I just wanted to double check that. I wondered if you'd maybe had to make some changes there to make full calendar work.
So
but no,
actually, the changes that I made, I think, was from line 120 something. Just check on
there's a new function in there.
Exactly. Those are the only changes that I have made.
Yeah. Now, and I guess that could this go in its own separate JavaScript file, rather than being? Could this perhaps go in the events file rather than being in the application.js?
Yeah, it could go there, but will the order affect the loading of the calendar? I'm not sure about that. In which order does Sprocket load script files?
I am not. I'm not 100% sure. But that might be something to just test out. I mean,
see what happens.
Either it works or it doesn't. Yeah. And then.
But either way, whatever code that you normally have in application.js is loaded last. Yeah, so taking it into the other file means it won't be in the same position that it is right now.
No, but
so
it
try
could
that
be,
and see if it will
but
work.
it could be like we can control where it gets loaded, because if it goes into the other file, it's going to be pulled in with a require, maybe, or maybe it isn't. But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, see, if it has to be there, it has to be there. That's fine. I was just interested. And I guess we've also got now the kind of JSON endpoint, and that's needed for the calendar, right? The calendar's using this JSON endpoint to get all of the information. Yeah.
Yeah, so I put in that JSON endpoint, but it's pulling in everything from anything in the future doing previously. It's not actually checking, because how full calendar works is that when you go to the next month, then it adds parameters for fetching only the events that are for that particular month.
Right.
Yeah,
Sure.
then I realized that is not possible with the current situation, because we have how do you call this?
There's a time horizon that we have. We're only
yeah, and there's this how do you call this? I don't know. I'm forgetting this name.
Ice Cube, the recurrence gem.
The Ice Cube, what we use to get all the events from the database.
Yeah.
There's a way we get all the events from the database in the future. So I'm basically reusing what we have. So
yeah,
whatever was supposed to be displayed in the list is what I'm putting into the calendar.
Yeah, no, that seems absolutely fine. Yeah, that's great. I mean, there's potentially in the future a big refactoring of the way the events work.
Yes, exactly.
Performance of the site. Yeah, I mean, I would say to kind of get this work out, maybe just add that feature flag, as it were, but put it rather than a flag on the database. Let's make it a flag, you know, on here that we can just do in the
on the
browser, so we can turn it on and off for our own purposes, and then I can get it out and we can start to play with it a bit more. And yeah, so that's that one. In terms of the other thing, which is like now having Google Cat, right? And we've now got this G Suite. You've got an email there. More people are going to get emails there in the G Suite. We've now got these calendars. Brent has set up kind of like a team calendar that kind of goes. Where do we go? I've got to find, and I've got to add an account to go and see it. I mean, I'm kind of running along behind here. I haven't really kind of worked out what's going on, but so this is at the moment. If I go to calendar.google.com and I log in with my sam@agileventures.org thing, which is now managed through Google, it has like my personal calendar here, which is where I'm managing all the premium pairing sessions and so on. So Brent has made this Agile Ventures team calendar, which, yeah, I mean, I can share the link. I mean, I can also, like, so it's public. I can also share this with you. But so in the longer run, and there's no rush for this because it's potentially kind of complicated, is, let's add you in there. So you should be able to see this calendar as well. Is like, in the long run, you know, what we would love is for the events being shown in our site to all be shown in that, you know, Google hasn't been saved. Oh no, that save button.
Yeah, you need to hit the save button.
Yeah, if I go to team and we just say show only that one. But do you know what I mean? Like, I think some people,
I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
So we should be able to pull in any event from the Google Calendar alongside the events that we have.
Well, you know, and more than that, in as much as, say, I mean, what we would like in some ways is for it to be kind of seamless. So, for example, if somebody created an event in the Agile Ventures website, that then it would automatically become visible in the Agile Ventures calendar. And I'm not saying it's easy, but like in the ideal world, if somebody made a change to the Agile Ventures calendar or add an event, change event, that it would then talk back to the Agile Ventures site, and it would just be kept synchronous, so people could, use whichever one they want and not have to worry about things being out of date. It would just be kept in sync. And I think it is all possible in principle, but potentially rather complicated. So we don't need to try and do it. I mean, and don't feel that you have to do it. It's not. I'm just sort of mentioning that this. It feels like it would be a good place to be. What steps we take to get there, and in what order. It could be that just in the first instance, we're able to export some data from the Agile Ventures to the Google Calendar, or I don't know. I mean, it's just something to think about going forward. The big hope is, of course, is that if we have, reliable and easy ways to see when things are happening, that just means that more people will make it to all the different kinds of events, really. But is the hope. I mean, I've kind of just adjusted my life to start using Google Calendar more, and it does seem to be. I know a lot of people use. Do you use Google Calendar much?
Yeah, I use Google Calendar a lot. Actually, most of the Scrums I have the reminders of the calendar and the pair sessions. I have all of them in the calendar.
Yeah,
on the Google Calendar. Yeah.
Right. Totally. Cool. Well, that's anyway something to work towards. Yeah, but I think the first instance, the simple thing to do is if you could just add that little sort of URL feature flag to this, I'll get it deployed, and then we can kind of have another session where we look at, or we'll both play with it for a bit on the production when it's out there, and see what we think. Yeah.
So I need to add that, and probably the default view to be the day.
Yeah, I think whichever
day's events.
Yeah, whichever default view you prefer. That in the first instance, I'm like, presumably you can then, if the default is a day, you can then change it afterwards. Like in the interface, you can say you can prefer. I mean, or any of these things, feel free to parameterize them. So you can always just sort of stick, like calendar view equals day in the as another thing in there, and then we can sort of play with it.
All right.
Cool. All right. Well, great to catch up with you, Sigu. And I'm just getting used to the G Suite thing, but hopefully Brent's sort of helping me out. We're going to make it all easier to use and everything.
Are we supposed to have how do you call them? Used for doing stand-ups. We are supposed to add them onto the website. Was it done?
Your audio cut out a bit. I didn't adding certain sorts of apps to the website. So
Stand-Uply, adding Stand-Uply to the list of sponsors.
Yeah, it's there.
What? Oh, all right. Okay.
That did go out, yes. And so they're using Stand-Uply and Phoenix One. And I'm half irritated with it, half kind of liking it. I wonder if it might be interesting to use for other projects, but I haven't got my head into it yet at the moment. We might maybe start using it on local support. We'll see.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. That's all from me.
Yeah, well, great to see Sigu and Stella. Wonderful stuff. Hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll catch up with you a bit later.
All right. Cheers. See you in the Elixir mob.
Bye.
Bye for now. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.